Okay, we should be live. This is Tara Smith's Kitchen. I am Tara Smith. And today I'm going to be making jambalaya. Let me get my phone over here on Rumble so that I can see the Rumble chat if anyone wants to hop in over there. There we go. It's like one person over there. A few other channels are going on right now. And I'm going to start off with some peanut oil. This is the peanut oil that I'm using. And you don't need a whole hell of a lot of it. But I say that. You need enough in there for the chicken. And get my hat on camera there. I'm going to light this burner and I'm going to get this going. I've already got the chicken cut up. I need to cut up the sausage. I peeled the sausage. It's andouille sausage. I think it's supposed to be andouille, and people pronounce it Anadil, but I mean, this is Texas. We mispronounce everything, and you mispronounce all of our stuff. That's just how it goes. Coffee. And my coffee pot broke because I think my cat decided to try to throw it at my dog. Like, not just the glass thing, the whole thing. So I've got my camp percolator back there for coffee. And before I get started, because I'm probably going to fix and switch to this right here, Grolsch, which I think is pronounced like Grolsch. It's a Pilsner beer. I think that's a Dutch name on a Pilsner beer. It's an import. It's in an old school bottle. Sometimes they have it at HEB. This stuff's pretty cool. Anyways, we're going to start with the chicken. And I need one more bowl. So give me about half a second. I've been gone at work all week. Loaded up in Michigan. Everything is out of order. Isn't that how it goes though? Turn that down a bit. That is peanut oil that I'm heating up. And this bowl is technically clean, but I want to wash it again. Rinse it off good before we get started. My dishwasher keeps leaving film on stuff, and I do not know why. Anyways, I've got about 3 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken thighs. And we're going to start off with that. And I'm going to cut up the sausage. While we are waiting on that, I got 1 link of andouille sausage, about 3 pounds of chicken thighs, boneless, skinless. I'm going to dice 1 bell pepper, 3 sweet onions. And I'm going to add probably 3 cloves of garlic. I haven't made up my mind if I want to use just water, which is probably going to be 3 cups once we add the rice. Or if I want to use like chicken bouillon kind of thing. I'll make my mind up when we get there. Not a little thing, but there we go. There's our sausage. Really, if you're making like Cajun food, that sort of thing, you need the anchovies. You can make it work with something else, but you need the anchovies. Bell pepper. And yes, it's Cajun food, so you're gonna have bell pepper. You're gonna have onion. You're gonna have garlic. You're gonna have celery, which I forgot to mention. I'm probably gonna put 2 or 3 sticks of celery in it. I'll see as I go. And you're not gonna want your vegetables chopped up too thick. You're gonna kind of want to do it small. Which is what I'm doing right now. One of these days I'll get another camera. Or I'll get it set up. I don't know if I want a bell pepper or half a bell pepper. And I might make something else while we're waiting on this to cut. Haven't made up my mind. I might do some red beans and rice or something. So you some quick stuff to throw that on the table. I definitely do not have time to soak beans. Time to stir my chicken. I wish I had a bigger kitchen. I've got kind of like a little galley kitchen. There's not much room in here for anything. Little tiny house. Bought it about 22 years ago. But it works. Kind of need a bigger garage or I need a shed. One or the other. Vanessa Kitty, hello. Ghost Shadow, hello. How are y'all doing? We're gonna get all these juices and everything going. I think Honda or somebody's on right now, so a lot of the people that watch me are probably on his chat. It's now time for the onions. So that's 1 wing of Enable sausage, about 3 pounds of chicken thighs, boneless, skinless. 1 bell pepper, 3 large sweet onions, about 3 cloves of garlic, maybe 2 or 3 sticks of celery. I'm going to chop it up finer than I usually do. That last little piece of the onion is always hard to hold on to. Some of those chefs make it look easy. It's like if I did that, I would chop my fingers off. There is no way. That's a green bell pepper. Oh yeah. This is kind of onion I'm using. There can be a few larger pieces in it, just most of it's going to be a lot smaller than normal. They're going to cook into it anyways, so it's no big deal. Chopping onions over here. Sort of slept a little bit too late today, but I didn't get home till about, 5 o'clock this morning. So I got a late start on the day. Considering yesterday I started off on the Illinois-Missouri line, and I made it to Houston. I think I did pretty good. Okay, let's try this again. And this is about ready to take out. And then we're going to put our sausage in there. Shouldn't be on too late tonight. This dish altogether, well, I don't know, should be about a 2-hour chat. I posted a link to my Patreon up at the top of the chat. It's on YouTube. In a minute, I'll put that over on Rumble. If you're interested in supporting my channel. If you haven't hit that like button, please do. It helps me out. If you're on Rumble, help me out with some thumbs up. It helps the algorithm greatly. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. All of which helps me out. We're going to get all the juices going. And then we're going to put our vegetables in there. I'm going to take the meat out. We're going to put our vegetables in there. And we're going to cook them down. Actually, we might do the vegetables first. I don't know, we're getting a bit too much liquid off the chicken, but I can pour that in over here because we are going to need that liquid. Got a bit much in there. There we go. That's better. Let me finish with these onions real quick. I'll look at the chat in a minute as soon as I get the vegetables in there. I'll go ahead and throw these in there. So you're not looking at nothing. DJ Play Nice, how are you doing? Charger, how are you? Go Shadow drove from city in Alaska to Cheney, Washington. Double axle trailer. 52 hours in winter. Oh yeah, I've had some nightmares. I've seen it take me 6 hours to go 40 miles in the winter with absolutely no place to park. And there's nothing you can do because you can't stop moving or you're going to slide into the ditch. that crown in the road. But there's no place to park the truck. So there's nothing you can do. It's just a living nightmare. And people in the South, where I live, are like, what are you talking about? This is frozen stuff. Snow and ice. Of which me and Ghost Shadow have driven through plenty. We've done our time. I'm sure he feels the same way. I've done my time to somebody else. But that is how I make my money, so I will be back up there, and that's just the way it goes. Oh, your back's sore. I feel you. I get sciatica. You don't want that. Big old onion. I don't have one of those fancy chopping machines or anything. It's just me and a knife. I don't have that kind of money. That here is something that I can't bring myself to buy something like that when I have a tool that does the job. I mean, if I was working in a kitchen or something like that, maybe. Kind of a mechanic getting a better tool, do a job quicker, that sort of thing. I'm just cooking stuff at my house. So, little chopper things and all that. I don't actually need it. I'm doing pretty well with what I have. Half an onion left to go. I don't know if y'all can hear it chopping or not. Probably do something like, what is that? The ASMR stuff, like just chopping vegetables. Might be a thing. I don't know. I do know I need to go check on that sausage here real quick, right? If we get a little brown on it, awesome. Just don't want to burn it. That smells like I need to move it. Don't worry about the drippings in the bottom of the pan. We're fixing to use all that. And celery. How many do I want? How about 3? 3 sounds good. Always wash your celery real good. Your leeks, anything like that, come from the ground, come from the dirt, because it will have dirt on it. Just sort of the nature of the beast. See if I timed this all right. That's something a chef in the kitchen really has to have down, is timing. So I can throw you real off. There we go. All chopped. Hopefully I'm not burning my food. There we go. That ought to be good enough. These are already cooked, which is anodized sausage. We're just browning for flavor. We're about to add some other stuff. And just about everything we're putting in there, except for the sausage, is going to add like water and grease and that sort of thing to it, which we're going to use for the vegetables. Let's check the chat. The doll just, oh, my measuring cup. So our measuring cups. So right here's a half cup. But it is Halloween, if you want to get that going. Okay, 3 sticks of celery, 3 large sweet onions, 1 bell pepper. And yes, we are going to add garlic. Get those drippings all over your vegetables. Stir it around good. And we are going to cook this down. So where is my garlic? There's my garlic. Garlic will burn easily. So just be careful with that. And right now I'm peeling the garlic. That one came apart weird. This is actually 3. One broke up on me. Don't matter, because I'm going to smash them. Look like a Swedish chef in here. I got vegetables and everything flying. Might have used a bit too much onion, but it'll be okay. Everything is going to cook down, and then the rice is going to swell up. So let me check the chat. If you don't want to use bell pepper, I'm going to add some paprika to it in a minute. You can just use paprika and put a little bit more. And that works just fine. Because paprika is bell pepper. That's exactly what it is. I should have went through my spices already, but I didn't. And I need to pull a few out. That's the good stuff there. And if you're watching over on Rumble, I do have the chat open if you want to leave a comment or anything. Here is my cayenne. Awesome. What else was I putting in there? Cayenne pepper, regular pepper, salt. We should be good. The doll is staring at you. It's always been up there ever since Amy bought it for me. What's the name of these things? I have problems with names, you know that. But it's one of those Russian dolls. It has a doll inside a doll. Like this is a half a cup, measuring cup. See the writing? This is a quarter cup, measuring cup. I have one that's a third. This big one is a cup. And I am live. My wife's in the other room. I've got Charger on here saying that the doll is staring at him and it's moving.
It is. It walks.
It walks? You've seen it walk?
It waddles.
It waddles. Okay, it waddles. I get you guys, Shadow. Green pepper and everything. Okay. Yes, it is a nesting doll. That's it. That's the right name. I have that problem where I know exactly what it is. I can describe it and everything, but I have problems with what is the name of what the thing is. It's called too many injuries to the language portion of my brain. And what is this doing down here? It's bad enough I have to trip over her footstool. She has a footstool. Let me see who's on here. Hafiz Mohammed. Subscribe to my channel and follow. Okay. That's over on Rumble. You have to comment over there. Or she, or what have you. I don't want to presume. As you can see, that's cooking down. Okay, where's my measuring spoons? How many people out there? I got 9 on Rumble, 3 on YouTube. I haven't seen the doll move. But like I said, it is Halloween, so who knows? Or it's fixing to be Halloween. It's that time of year. Like Justin Wilson there for a second. Thank you, DJ. It's about a tablespoon of black pepper. And you can make this as hot as you want it. Obviously, the black pepper is not really going to make it hot. The cayenne, on the other hand, that'll get you. You can also use like Tony Chachere's, that sort of thing. About here, it's a tablespoon of cayenne. I'm just going to use regular paprika. If you're doing this using the same spoon, don't dip your spoon back in there and contaminate your spices. But you can pour it in from the top. Keep from using a whole bunch of spoons. This is about a teaspoon and a half of paprika. Oh, we're not adding salt yet. Yeah, I use a lot of fresh ground as well, but if I'm like measuring like that, I'll use the thing over there. That's what I have it for. And you can remember how to open these. Cheers. And that is a fine Pilsner beer with a Dutch name. And we got 12 people over on Rumble. If you're on Rumble, leave a comment. Let me know you're there. I appreciate rants. I appreciate thumbs up. Anything you can leave me. It'll be awesome. Yes, that is in the corner for those who weren't here at the beginning. In the corner of my stove, that is a camp percolator, coffee pot for a campsite. Because it appeared like the cat decided to throw the coffee pot off the counter, not just push it off the counter. She had to have somehow or another thrown the coffee pot. And she threw the coffee pot at the dog. Not just the glass part, the whole thing. Wish you had some beer right now. I don't have to work tomorrow. If you see this in the import section of your store, grosh or grosh, how do you pronounce that? Grosh. It's Dutch. It's not Czech, the name. But Grolsch there is a good beer. I would recommend it. Are we turning clear? Yes, we are. Steam, as always, is hot. We are going to pour this all back in there. I start seeing chicken like that. I start thinking chicken paprikash. I'm like, do I need to add some more paprika? Change the color. No, I do not. There's a few different ways of doing this. You can take it all out and you can kind of brown the rice a little bit. Or you can put the rice in there and just let it cook for about 10-15 minutes with everything else, which is what we are going to do. And just a little bit. Getting all these flavors going for the rice to soak up. Because we are going to put about 3 cups of rice into this pot. And after that, probably about 3 or 4 cups of water or broth. Don't want too much because our chicken and everything is cooking down. And you've already got liquid in there. And we're just cooking it down a little bit. Here's the stuff over here that I might make. I need to use it because it expires. And it's one of those quick meal sort of things that while this is cooking, I might go ahead and make. And if you see this in your store, you want to make some quick red beans and rice, you don't have time to soak everything and what have you. This right here, Blue Runner Creole Cream Style Red Beans Original. This is good. But you're going to need some sausage to go with it. Or you're going to need some kind of protein source to go with it. Doesn't have to be sausage, but more than likely some of the andouille sausage to go with it. And you can put a quick meal on the table. So once we get this going, I'm going to put it on the back burner, and we're probably going to start on that. Seco Shadow. UPS has USPS. I screwed up another one of your orders. California to SeaTac. Kent. Now it's in Colorado. Colorado Springs. There's a big Air Force base down there. We do a lot of bases. My favorite one is what is that? Hawthorne, Nevada. I mean, it's the Army Supply Depot, but it's a Naval Undersea Station in the middle of Nevada. That's a trip. There we go. I think you can see all that liquid in there. And so I'm not going to be adding too much water to it. I might not even add bouillon or anything. Have not made up my mind. We're kind of making our own broth with the chicken as it is. So you have plenty of flavoring in there. You don't actually have to use bouillon or anything like that. You can just use water, which is more than likely what we are going to do. Check back over on Rumble. Cool. We have 10 people over there watching on Rumble. And I am broadcasting to Rumble, Twitch, and to YouTube. All of them are Tara's Kitchen. Oh, cool. Looking through there with the haze or whatever you want to call it. That is a shadow. That does not look good. I need to paint. Oh, that's not it. Okay. There we go. Do that. Adjusting the camera. I was supposed to paint while I was on my vacation. I got just about everything else done but the painting. I got the paint, I got everything to do it, just didn't have the time. Where is my rice? Kind of going through some of my supplies and replacing things, like taking the rice out of the containers, stuff like that, using it and replacing it with new ones for as far as my food stores go. Okay. It's 2 cups. Cups. stir this all in here. It's going to take about 10-15 minutes, and I'll decide on how much water or bouillon or something. Twisted Art Lady, how are you doing? I haven't seen you in a while. At least I haven't seen you comment in a while. We are making jambalaya. And for those just getting in the chat, what have you, or watching later, we put about 3 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken thighs in there, chopped them up, and we put 1 good link of andouille sausage in there. We kind of cooked them, browned them, put them to the side. Then we put 3 large sweet onions, a bell pepper, 3 stalks of celery, and 3 cloves of garlic that were smashed up. Put that in there, cooked it down, then we put the meat back in, and we just put 3 cups of rice in here. Time is it? 10:35. By the time it gets to 45, I'll be adding stuff to it. And I probably need to go help somebody do something while we are doing this, so give me...
I got it. Whatever was beside the bed, looked over.
Okay. Yeah, this pot should be the right size for it. I have some bigger ones. I usually use for gumbo, stuff like that. I hadn't made gumbo in a while. I think this trip's going to take longer. I'm going to be heading back up to Michigan. So I am cooking more food. Haven't looked at the weather, but everything's getting colder. It's raining. It was pouring rain coming down. So I'm wondering about snow, that sort of thing. I can make it from Houston up there where I've got to go in Michigan and back just barely. And 4 jumps. Get up there, unload, come back. If the weather's good. If it starts snowing, especially in the new truck, I've never driven an automatic in the snow. I'm probably going to slow down, and it's going to be like 4.5 days, maybe 5. And of course, the first good snows of the year, you know, all the accidents and everything. Let me push this down. You have rice. Why aren't you soaking up that liquid? Oh, stir it, push it down. Turn my heat down a little bit. Or burn it. You do not want to do that. You people we got out there. We got Twisted Art Lady, DJ Play Nice, Charger, Ghost Shadow. Somebody else is up there, but I do not know how to scroll through the chat. So I'm fairly computer illiterate. And not many people commenting on Rumble, but I have 9 watching. Hello to you out there. I haven't seen any comments from Twitch. If you're out there, leave a comment. I will say hi. You got some more snow in Kansas? That 4-letter word. Now, my day yesterday started off over there by where 57 meets the Missouri-Illinois line. And I dropped the trailer off in Houston and had to PC back to the yard because I was out of hours at that point. It's like rain, no rain, pouring down rain. Kind of coming in with the front. Let's stir this again. It's doing a pretty good job soaking that up. And like I said, I do not want it to burn. Wash this out. I don't know what the deal with the dishwasher is. And it's time for a new one. Probably should have already done this, but I'll go ahead and start heating that water up. That's 3 cups of water.
I got my laptop.
Cool. I'm about to put this on the back burner and probably make red beans and rice. Especially if you're making beans or something like that, something you might have to add water to, you know, pinto beans, stuff like that. Always have a pot of water boiling or something nearby so that you're not pouring cold water into the pot. . 'Cause 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 ' Have a choice on the red beans of using the blue runner or Zatarain's. I think I'm going to use the blue runner. Once it gets going, you're not supposed to take the lid off of it. I remember Justin Wilson saying something about that. I used to watch that show with my mom. We watched Justin Wilson on PBS, and we'd watch the Frugal Gourmet. Because we did not have cable. We weren't rich. We didn't have one of them big, goofy satellite dishes out in the front yard that looked like a spaceship. All we had was an antenna. You had ABC, NBC, CBS, you had PBS. What was that? I think that was UHF. And then when you clicked over the VHF, you had, I want to say one of them was UPN. And you get a lot of Saturday matinee movies, stuff like that on it. And I can't remember what the other one is. I think it eventually became like Fox or something. But you have those two channels up there. I think most of you in the chat there are old enough to remember exactly what I'm talking about. I used to love listening to his stories. Yes, I watched Julia Child too. You know, she didn't start cooking until she was in her 40s. Okay. There we go. Set this over here. Make sure you get down there and you scrape that bottom. Her down just a little bit. And that was just water. I'm going to need one more to do this. I will figure it out somehow. I am missing something. I do not know what I'm missing. It's always better that way. I'm going to have to wash one. This is an old pan. Or pot. Like, what would do the job? At least for what I need it to do. Hold this. And there should be another thing of sausage. 25. It's probably about 11:20 that should be done. Yeah, she was crazy. Julia Child. Remember when she had all the different chickens out there and she was explaining what each chicken was used for? What did I open the fridge for? Oh, I know. Sausage. Good stuff. So now I have to peel the sausage. I don't know if you peel the sausage or not. A lot of people actually don't. And some people buy skinless, which is the much easier route, but I have not seen this kind of sausage in skinless ever. Pretty sure it doesn't exist. If it does, shoot me a link. I would love to find it. It is a lot easier than doing this. And peeling the sausage. In my normal life, I don't actually talk this much unless I really, really, really know you. Most of the day, I don't see a word at all. So it's interesting doing YouTube and actually having to talk. I would much rather be playing a guitar or riding a bike or something like that than talking. Especially when there's no one else to actually like bounce off of talking. If you can get someone on a chat, like sometimes where you got multiple people or something, that's not bad because you actually have a conversation. But it's like just you're talking. It's different. And the sausage is cut up and peeled. Foss, hey, how you doing? Yes. I know there is a can opener somewhere. There just has to be. But before I do that, let me see how much rice we gonna make. About 2 cups of rice ought to be enough. I am an idiot. I did that in the wrong order. That's how things work when it's live. Okay, so I just pour that in another bowl. And now I have it ready. Well, just do that either. Getting ahead of myself. It happens. Going to be 1, 2. I do not know where the lid is. 3. We're going to bring that to a boil. And sometimes I hate her footstool. I keep tripping over it. But I'm a foot taller than she is. We're going to add salt. I'm thinking about making, I might do it in like some shorts or something like that, but making sauerkraut or something from the channel. Be cool if I could get a few people to do it with me. It's not hard. It's all you really need is a cabbage and salt. Not the salt with the iodine in it. You don't want that one. The iodized salt. You want like sea salt, kosher salt, something like that. About 2% of the weight of the cabbage. You can add caraway seeds. You can add like juniper berries, stuff like that to it. I would probably just be adding caraway seeds. And you taste it as you go every week. 2-3 weeks, it should be ready. 4 weeks should be perfect. Is that cooled off? Can I touch it? Yes. Because we are going to do a switcheroo. And where is the lid? That is not the lid. Oh, here it is. It's over here. Yeah, I'm drinking beer. Yeah, DJ. If you want to make some with me, that'd be cool. Do you like a collaboration, what have you? Try and see if anybody else wants to get in on that, like get a few people. Maybe we can like do our shorts, making it and checking it every week. But a lot of people, especially on the YouTube side, are of more of a prepper mindset kind of thing. And long before we were canning anything, we were fermenting vegetables and stuff like that. And a lot of cultures around the world have different things. Cabbage is real popular because it's easy to do that with, whether you're talking sauerkraut or kimchi, but there's vegetables around the world that they do stuff like that with. Had Him Fossa saying, just say no. Oh, cool. That's cool. That's cool. Cool, DJ. Yeah. And if your fermentation goes wrong, you will know quick because you'll be able to smell it. And here is the rice. To bring that to a boil. And put a lid on it. And we're going to swap pots out. But if you're of that mindset and you think about, okay, if your worst fears do happen, and I've been in natural disasters, and I think that's the most likely case. I've done FEMA aid and stuff like that. I was in Hammond, Louisiana when Hurricane Katrina hit. You know, after Hurricane Ike, where I live, we didn't even have power for 5 weeks. So I'd say at a minimum, you need to be able to survive for like a month or two, preferably 3, on just your dry goods and stuff like that, and be able to have, drinking water, that sort of thing, have medical supplies, that sort of stuff. You do not want to be waiting in line for all of that stuff. But let's say worst case scenario, because we're looking at World War III right now with everything that's going on. I think the Catholic Church already said it was World War III. Putin says he's in a war with us. And what if you were looking at a year or so? And, people talking about surviving the winter. Well, it was never really so much surviving the winter as it was surviving the spring until, plants and stuff got growing that you could eat. Crops start getting in, having food supplies that long, and people would do that with their food. They would ferment their food. They would can their food. And it's a way to preserve the food. At its most basic. Turn that down. And there we go. So from that standpoint, knowing how to, especially if you got crops coming in, stuff like that, ways to store those. If you don't have refrigeration, if you don't have all that sort of stuff, maybe you don't have everything you need to be canning all of that, maybe, who knows? So knowing how to ferment the vegetables as a way of storing your food. And you are going to need that food. You're going to need the vitamins and nutrients and stuff like that from the veggies and all of that. You should know how to do that. You should know how to smoke meat, all that kind of stuff. know how to salt it, that sort of thing. But from that standpoint, something so simple as making like sauerkraut. It may not be something you particularly enjoy if you don't have a taste for it, but it will keep you alive. Yes, everyone uses the can opener wrong, including myself. But if you want quick red beans, you're not wanting to soak them. Red beans are ones you really do have to soak, though. Kind of regardless of the altitude you're at. When it comes to pintos and stuff like that, if you're down at sea level, it's not really as important. But the higher up in altitude that you get, the more important it becomes. I don't want to add too much water to it. Just enough. Once again, this is Blue Runner Creole cream style red beans. And that's just for a quick meal. I need a wooden spoon or something somewhere. Cool. Hopefully I didn't add too much water. I shouldn't have. And you can cut your sausage up whatever size you want. I think I'm going to go ahead and kind of quarter the coins up just because at the moment I feel like it. And while, yes, there is a difference between Cajun and Creole, Cajun tends to be darker, simpler. Creole tends to be a little bit more worldly if you think of that worldly influence and New Orleans. It's more of a New Orleans thing, where out in the country, you're talking more Cajun. You're also talking different peoples in a way. Well, definitely. Because you have a group of people that came down from Canada, and you have very mixed people there in the New Orleans area. There's quite an interesting history to all of that, which plays out in the food. The Creole tends to be lighter. Yeah, I kind of join instead of being taken. I read a book a long time ago. I don't remember the name of it. It was kind of in that sort of a situation. And of course, I think it's in the 80s or the 90s. I was in school, the early 90s. And there had been like a nuclear war or something like that in the book. And it was talking about you're following this guy. Society's kind of trying to reform itself, and of course it would, and you got this mixture of old and new. You just don't have all the niceties. And I think communities would come together. If you have a local government in your area, you would kind of still have that local government in your area to some point. Unless they just went insane. And then you would probably take care of them. But there would be some kind of ruling factor going on. You'd still have cities, that sort of thing, in areas that aren't like just completely devastated. I can't remember the name of the book, but the guy was like, I think in some sort of government or law enforcement or something like that. And it goes through where he's basically keeping order after all of that happened. And there would be people doing that. Realistically, I don't think that's ever going to happen. It could. But that bearded guy, hello. The day after? Maybe. It's been a long time. I know it's like he stopped putting alcohol in his coffee because he wanted it too much, stuff like that. Start hardening yourself up. I think the most realistic thing to be prepared for, though, is hard times, hard economy. In many ways, our ancestors, my grandparents, my great-grandparents, were better prepared for the Great Depression than we are now. I mean, of course, yes, their supplies were local. Their stuff was fresher. They were not as used to a lot of the creature comforts that we have now. But they basically knew all of this stuff. Their parents, most people didn't have an ice box, wasn't even a refrigerator yet then. Mr. Carrier was designing a machine he was designing a dehumidifier, not an air conditioner, any of that. You had actual ice boxes with ice in them and that sort of thing. So they were a little bit better prepared for making a little something out of nothing than a lot of us are today. I mean, we've got our fancy Green Mountain, whatever, prep supplies and all that stuff, but all that stuff runs out. Might help to turn it on. What am I making? We have jambalaya on the back burner. And we have red beans and rice, just kind of a quick red beans and rice that I'm doing while we are waiting on the jambalaya. And all of this is going to be my food for the week. But the red beans is sort of a quick thing. It's not really from scratch. It's more like how you'd say from the box or from the can. I'm using the Blue Runner red beans. I added some sausage to it, and I'm boiling some rice. And that will work for what it is. Another good thing to have, by the way, and when Texas got hit where we lost our power and all that kind of stuff, what was that, 2 winters ago? I was the only one of my neighbors that had coffee. You'd be surprised how ill-prepared most people are. The reason is I have this. A little camp stove percolator. If you like your coffee stuff like that. That's good for coffee. Or you could make coffee like my great-great-grandmother used to, that I was privileged enough to know. I never saw her use a coffee pot or a percolator or anything like that. And she was born in 1880 and she died in 1987. That's why I say I was privileged enough to know her. She would literally boil water in a pot, just a pot, like this pot right here. She would boil water in it. She would put coffee grounds into the pot, and she would take like a tea strainer and she would pour the coffee through the tea strainer into cups. Or you could use something like this, depending on how coarse ground it is. As long as you have some sort of strainer, you can always make coffee. If you have water, you have fire, and you have coffee grounds, you can make coffee. Find something to strain it through. You could strain it through a piece of cloth. I would use a clean one, preferably white, if you did that. But little niceties and stuff like that, things that would make you feel better. Just a cup of hot coffee. The whole world could go to shit. And just to have that cup of hot coffee, that will do wonders for just your general morale, well-being, how good you feel, that sort of thing. And having tea and stuff like that, that is also good. I mean, if you like Earl Grey, I've got Earl Grey over in the cabinet over there, just because I happen to like that tea. As long as you can boil water and you've got a cup and a tea bag, you can make tea. That's much better. I mean, I like water, but it's much better to have some flavor to it if you can. Well, things like that make a huge difference, no matter how tough we think we are. That burner back there with the rice doesn't exactly work that great. One day I'll get a stove. One day I'll hit the pick six and I'll get a... Is it pick six? I don't know. I don't play the lottery. One day I'll actually play it. Maybe I'll win. I'll get a new house and I'll get a new stove, a kitchen I can turn around in. I don't know. That burner's not doing too good. If you're on my Discord, you probably saw a picture of a wheel that they put a bunch of new tires on the trailer and apparently they didn't torque it down. So I get to going down the road and I see, I stop and I check and I see lug nuts coming off and I lost one of the studs because it had Bud wheels on it. And the guy's like, how old is this trailer? Because it has Bud wheels on it. And for those of you that don't know, that's the ones where you have your inner and outer studs. And you can take the outside tire off and the inside tire is kind of still on there. So I'm like, well, you're lucky because we've still got trailers that have Dayton rims. And we do. We have a couple that have Dayton rims. We have quite a few that have Bud wheels on them, and we got a few newer ones, but not a whole lot. Glad I caught it though. And hello over there on Rumble and out there on Twitch. Anyone that's watching that wants to look me up on the other media sources. For this channel, it's Tara Smith's Kitchen on all of them, and it should all have the same logo. Let's see. What did that bearded guy say? Oh yeah, they always had something that you could, something simple that made you feel good. It'd be like garlic soup or one of my grandfathers. It sounds weird. It's not complicated or anything. But there were three things that me and him would make. Well, four if you count coffee. Because we'd be up at like 5 o'clock in the morning. He'd be making his coffee. And in my family, you're drinking coffee at a very young age. And we would either make cinnamon toast in the oven, which is slices of bread, or we would make cheese toast. And that's just some of my favorite memories, sitting at the table, drinking coffee and eating like cinnamon toast or cheese toast with my grandfather. Oh, the rice is getting there. And they're going to be ready about the same time. Oh, that's the ones that have the bead. What do you call that? Old tractor tires, stuff like that. Moxies, Ukes, Terex, push-pulls. But you've got a bead on the tire, and you got to break that bead. It's a big metal ring. I was on a job site, back in the 90s. And we're trying to tell this guy that, what was he changing the tire on? He was changing the tire on a Bell truck, which I believe is now John Deere. They got bought by John Deere. Those big articulated dump trucks. And we're like, hold on, we'll walk an excavator over here to cage that tire for you. And he didn't listen. So that bead shot up about 200 feet in the air and took several of his fingers with it. So yeah, those things will hurt you. We're nearly at 30 minutes on the jambalaya. It's like I want to take the lid off, but I don't. Just because I have Justin Wilson in my head. And you don't take the lid off. It's some kind of sin. What kind of bowl do I want for this? I'd like to get some of them like big, wide ones like they have at the restaurants. That would be awesome. Fluffy, fluffy rice. I need more room. Before I do that, I am going to check this. I'm committing a sin. I took the lid off. I'm sorry, Justin Wilson. Who is Justin Wilson? Oh yeah, he will guarantee. He was a Cajun cook on PBS 30 years ago. I think that's about done. Not too spicy. But let's go put a little on there. And that is red beans and rice. We've got red beans, we've got sausage, and all that right there. I don't want to use all of it. Like I said, that's my food this week. And that is jambalaya. Hey, somebody else is having memory problems, not just me. Yeah, he had that like a bolo tie kind of thing, I think. It's an interesting story on him. If you look up on YouTube, Justin Wilson, there's a site that has his videos and everything on there. And you can find the story of how he came to be on TV and all that. He was just a cook in a kitchen and how that got going. Just that chance in life. Aging sucks, yes. So do head injuries. I am going to try my jambalaya. I'm going to blow one up first because it is hot, obviously. And it is awesome. You can season it up a little more if you want to. There's not really a need. It does need a little bit of salt. I'm probably going to add a little bit to it and stir it up before I package it up. So where is the salt? Here is the salt. And you can make that a lot hotter by putting more pepper in it. You can put Tabasco, stuff like that in there. You can even be like Justin Wilson and look the other way while you're adding more Tabasco sauce to the dish. That was like one of his trademark things. Just childhood memories, you know? Yeah, they said I've got, what is it? Amniotic, whatever the hell it is, aphasia, which is, it affects the language part of your brain. Apparently beginning stages. But that is a jambalaya. Jambalaya was completely from scratch, obviously. You watched me cook it. The red beans and rice is not completely from scratch. It is from a can with sausage put in it. And you make some rice. And you put it over the rice. And that's more just a quick meal. We spent, 30 minutes making that? So in 30 minutes time, you could have a meal ready and on the table with just the red beans in a can. That's why I did that. That and two, so we weren't just not doing anything for 30, 40 minutes. Trying to find things to fill those gaps with. I'm going to get around to making that cake too. I thought about making it today, but I don't think I can do that live. I was going to make it last week, thought about it this week. That's one of them things I'm going to have to do an actual video of and just post it as a regular video. Do that completely from scratch. Yeah, semi-homemade. But it's a quick meal that you can make for your family. It's pretty good. Also, along the same vein is this. Zatarain's. If you're anywhere in the South especially, you know what this is. You know what aisle it's on in the grocery store. And this is pretty much the same thing. Takes a little bit longer. But like I said, this is a quick meal. 30 minutes time, you can have that sitting on the table. You're literally just heating it up. The sausage is already cooked. So you put the sausage in there. As long as it takes you to heat up sausage and what's in the can and make rice. And it's on the table. The jambalaya. Took us, an hour and 45 minutes. You could probably do it in an hour and a half. If you weren't getting interrupted. But we all have families, at least most of us. So we know how realistic the not getting interrupted is. And that's not very. There's always going to be something. Especially if you have kids in the house. There's definitely. Our boys are grown. They're off on their own. That was a shock too when the youngest moved out. We had milk go bad. It's like you almost forget milk will go bad. You will never have milk in your house go bad if you have a teenage boy in the house. That's just not going to happen. He moves out and it's like you're so used to buying stuff, with, the kids in the house. And all of a sudden you have all this food that you're having to throw out. So we had to completely readjust, our shopping for what we buy. We don't buy the huge things of eggs. We just buy them 12 at a time, a dozen eggs. We don't need any more than a dozen eggs, and they'll probably go bad before I use all of them. That sort of thing. Thank you, DJ. Chocolate syrup yeah, that's not going to last long. But then when they come over and visit, it's like having a grizzly bear sneak into your house and raid your fridge. Chocolate milk is one of the few sweets that I can't resist. I don't know who can resist it because it's just so good, Other than that, I'm not a huge sweet eater. I like my kolaches, stuff like that. I don't make them often. I think starches are more my thing, starches and meat, than sweets. I do like ice cream, but chocolate milk and also Oreos. I usually will not buy Oreos because it's just, you will eat all the Oreos. Sweet and spicy is good too, yes. But I'm not huge on sweets. We didn't grow up with a lot of sweets. So I guess it's one of them things, how you grow up. There wasn't a lot of fast food. There wasn't a lot of anything like that. It was a treat that 1 or 2 times a year you got to go to like Dairy Queen and get a hamburger, and you got ice cream or something like that, or in the winter when it snowed and you'd make like snow ice cream, that sort of thing. But when you have to go to town once or twice a month for supplies, a lot of that stuff just isn't a thing. Yeah. And while I like, stuff like beer, I'll drink like one with the meal. It's more depending on what I'm eating. There's some meals that a beer just goes good with. Beer's just so filling and it takes so much of it that I've bought a case of beer before, and like a year later I'm wondering if it's any good, what's left of it. Because I usually don't drink a whole lot of beer, at least not since my 20s, Vodka and scotch are a little different. I do like a good glass of vodka or a good glass of scotch. And sit back and watch a movie with a nice glass, Which basically means I'm an adult. I drink at home. I need to make that into a shirt. It says, I'm an adult, I drink at home. Or actually that Apple Crown is like drinking a Jolly Rancher. That you will hurt yourself on. You mentioned Jack Daniels, I thought like bourbon, so I automatically thought of that. Weird, the tennis ball bounces around in my head. But a good glass of good liquor is good. Well, if you ever get a chance to try Apple Crown, I will warn you, it is like drinking a Jolly Rancher. You will drink so much of that so quick. Excuse me. Not a good drink to drink on a bad day. Unless you're just really wanting to get lit. Anyways, I hope all of y'all enjoyed the cooking. Was that Cutty Sark is good stuff. I haven't heard of that one. I kind of have usually certain things that I'll drink. There's a sea of stuff that I'm not even interested in. Probably because it would take too much time to learn about it and learn what's good. And I'd be like somebody that's buying vodka that doesn't know what they're buying and they think Russian vodka is good vodka. No. Walk over here. There's Polish vodka over here. Much better. They think, oh, it's Russian. That's not what you look for. Or like you get into Scotch and you get into the peaty flavor and, stuff like that. And you kind of don't want to learn that about another. I got some vodka over here. As far as cheap vodka goes, because I got some stuff up there that's carbon filtered, this isn't bad for cheap vodka. If you're wanting cheap vodka that's still pretty good, and this is Polish vodka. That up there for you. Polish luxury potato vodka. I think most people would rather have vodka made from grain anyways than they would from potatoes. It's usually smoother. Oh, I like tequila too. Tequila makes you hot though. It's the other thing too, you get older and it's like, if I'm going to drink something good. I'm not going to drink crap. That vodka there is as low as I'll go. Maybe one day I'll get like liquor out and we'll do like taste test or something. And we'll go through that. But I actually don't drink that often either because of my job. My job's probably what keeps me from being an alcoholic, because I can't even blow a trace. So unless I have at least 2 days off in a row, which usually I don't, usually I only get 1 or 1.5, I don't drink anything. That's how you got your child. That's how many people got their child. That and 1 tequila, 2 tequila, 3 tequila, 4. Oh. Remember me and a friend of mine, back when we were teenagers, sitting on the culvert. This is back when like malt liquor and stuff was real popular. We got a case of them. I think he got like a case of 40s. And what was it? It's that one that has the big B on it. And we're sitting up on top of these culverts. We're drinking that. We were doing other stuff too, but I was a teenager, and we're holding on to each other walking down the road, because if either one of us would have fell, neither one of us would have got up. It's one of those memories. But number one, you're like, how did I live through that? And then number two, it just reminds you of someone in your past. Yeah, that was it. Mickey's wide mouth. Yeah, I woke up in a greenhouse. Actually, it was Mickey's wide mouth and a big bag of weed. But, you know, that was a long time ago. And I woke up in a greenhouse wondering where the hell I was, trying to sneak out of the place. I'm crawling over the fence, and all of a sudden I hear his mom from the back porch. She goes, "The door works. Want to come in and get a cup of coffee?" I'm like, "Oh, okay, sorry." She ended up being pretty cool. That's one of those memories from childhood. I don't know if I'd even want to smoke what they have today. Some of that stuff scares me. If you're calling it Sleepy Joe, I don't know if I want to be that messed up. Not at this point in my life. It's a little bit too much. That's been decades ago, though. It's one of them things, you grow up and you want a good job and you get drug tested and all that stuff with a good job. And you can't drink, you can't do anything but pays the bills. And life happens. Hey, watch the hour hand on the clock skip and you're like, what happened? It was like 2 o'clock a minute ago. Why is it 5? Maybe when I retire, if I live that long, I'll have a little garden. Hopefully it'll be legal nationwide by then. My mom was a hippie, by the way. If anyone else was alive in the 70s and the 80s and watched a lot of people go from hippie to like urban cowboy, that's what my mom did. So I kind of watched that transition with her. But anyways, hopefully all of you enjoyed the chat and enjoyed watching me cook the food. Maybe have a couple more recipes. Oh, somebody over there on Twitch finally. Well, what I made back here, that is jambalaya. And this is red beans and rice. Red beans, rice. It has sausage in it. So here's the jambalaya. And here's the red beans and rice that I've been sitting here eating. I don't know how Twitch works, but you can go back, if it will let you, you can go back through and watch it. Or it's the same channel name, the same logo on Rumble and YouTube if you want to catch me over there. And you can watch the whole thing on either one. But thank you for the comment over there on Twitch. And DJ, thank you so much. I will catch you later. I might go live cooking breakfast in the morning. I don't know. I will see how I feel. But I'm going to have to end the chat and go to bed before someone gets too mad at me, because I've still got to clean all this stuff up and plate it up in the Tupperware and get it ready to take to work with me. So I will catch all of you later. Thank you so much. Like, share, and subscribe if you haven't. Hitting the like button and hitting the thumbs up, the rumble, and all that stuff does help me out with the algorithm, and I would appreciate it. Yes, I will tell her hi. And I will figure out a good way to end this chat at some point. I think I've kind of figured out a way on my motorcycle channel. Transitions are hard. But I'm going to go ahead and hit that red button now. So y'all take care. Enjoy yourselves. And I will catch you later. Bye.